Okay, commonly I'm asked by insurance agents getting into final expense, where should you be selling final expense at? And likewise, which areas of the surrounding country should you stay out of? And what I'm going to talk about in this video is exactly the answer to that question. It might surprise you. Coming right up. My name is David DuFord. I own DuFord Insurance Group. I train and recruit agents nationally to sell final expense Medicare and annuities face-to-face and over the phone. If you happen to want to learn more about joining DuFord Insurance Group, click the links above or below to learn more. Thanks for watching. So let's talk about the worst areas to sell final expense in. Are you ready? The absolute worst areas to sell final expense in is middle-class America and up. Now, why would I say something like that? Why would I say people with money are a bad idea to sell final expense to? Because frankly, in my experience, running final expense for years and training agents to do the same, people who are middle class don't have the most important fundamental requirement to buying final expense. Do you know what that is? Need. A desire for protection. Why? Because many people in middle-class America have planned to some extent, at least enough, that if they die, that there's some kind of protection, either an existing life insurance plan or some sort of retirement strategy in place to protect against funeral expenses. Again, guys, I'm not saying you can't sell insurance to people who are middle class. What I am saying, however, is that specifically targeting zip codes, neighborhoods, counties that represent this demographic, you're going to experience a lot more problems getting deals closed because the need is not as readily available as it is with the primary area, which is selling insurance to poor people. And when I say poor people, what I'm talking about is people who have low incomes, who have marginal means. That if they died, it would be a burden on their kids because many of them are in the same financial situation. And they don't have the economic capability at this stage in their life to then save up money to have enough by the end, whenever that might be. So what I teach agents to do instead is stay out of anything that's middle class and up and stick specifically to low-income Americans pretty much anywhere in the city, in the sticks, small town America, rural America, doesn't matter to me. There's a lot of lower income Americans all over the place, and targeting those areas is immensely more profitable and lucrative as a final expense agent than thinking that targeting a middle class area is a better strategy. So guys, how do you find out what areas you should go to? So one of the things that I like to teach my agents is to do just some basic demographic socioeconomic research. And there's a website, I think it's called zipwho.com, or it might be zipwho.net. And if you go in there and start plugging zip codes in, you're going to see some basic expectations to household income. When I see household incomes at $50,000, $60,000 and more, I'm immediately turned off at the prospect of working those zip codes. Maybe not always, because the second thing you need to do is also have a drive-through of these areas before you start to target them, okay? Going through and kind of seeing the lay of the land and what the surroundings look like, if it matches what your expectations are really important, because sometimes numbers don't really do a good job of representing it, but it's a good starting point. And that's the basic strategy of what I teach with all of my agents to do with final expense. You just have to understand it's purchased because there is a fear that they won't have the money necessary to properly bury them with decency. And therefore, what we sell as final expense agents is of value. It's of desire to them. And when you start a sales presentation with a group of people that fit that description, that then need and want it, guess what that does for you? It makes the whole sales process that much easier. You don't have to try to work somebody into ground to buying a policy from you that just can't conceive of the need of it because financially they're in a lot better position. So that is my advice to you guys. If you're looking to get into the final expense business, go after low-income Americans. There's a lot of them everywhere across the country, and purposely stay out of the middle class and up areas just because the likelihood of making consistent sales is a lot lower because, simply put, the need and urgency is just nearly not as much there as it is with low-income Americans. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you got any comments or questions, please leave them below. And if you'd like to learn more about joining my agency to do what I've just described, to sell final expense, click the links above or below, and you'll learn more there. Thanks for watching, guys. See you.